श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम ओम सुखं नित्यं स्वप्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृक्यत्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्त वेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं नमत्तोऽन्यत् इति मे निश्चिता मतिः. So we are seeing the different khyati. Khyati means different kinds of knowledge, different kinds of ways to express things. What are that we are interested in? We are interested in seeing how the snake which we see on the rope is seen. How is it perceived? So there are different schools. He enumerated 4 important schools. Shunyavadi, the voidist, he says asatkyati. He says everything is a void. Inside it is void, outside it is void. There is nothing which is real. Even the rope which you see, that is also not real. Leave alone the snake. The rope also is not real. That is also void. So everything is void. That is what he says. So whether it is the rope or it be the snake which is in the anthill, whatever, they are all void. There is nothing which is real. That is what he says. So that is why we call it asat khyati. Asat means non-existence. Khyati, knowledge. The knowledge of non-existence is what is taking place. The knowledge of non-existence, what is you are explaining, speaking about. Kya is the root word. Kya, prakathane is the meaning of prakathane, means to explain nicely, to speak, to say things clearly. So whatever you are saying, whatever you are speaking about, whatever you are experiencing, they are all regarding the non-existent thing, whether it be the rope or the snake, does not really matter. So that is asat khyati. Then atma khyati. Atma Khyati fellows, with this is Vijnanavadi Buddhist, meaning the people who accept a momentary existence of the intellect. Momentary existence. For a second, Kshanaba. Every second, the new intellect arises that stays for a second over. Every new intellect exists only for a second. That is what is projecting the world. So they say we should be either completely devoted to this or mad. Otherwise, it is very impossible to understand how can voids be seen here and there and everywhere. I see void. That is one problem. How can a momentary intellect produce a continuous flow of existence, whether it be the rope snake or the rope itself? Because rope also is of momentary existence. So how can that momentary existence give me a continuity? So this is very highly illogical. So he says Atma Khyati. They says Vijnanavadino Abhiprayastu, the Vijnanavadi Buddhist, they accept. What do they say? Rajova Anyatrava Buddhehe Bahihi Kutrachitapina Sarpo Asti. Whether it be the rope or somewhere else. Somewhere else means in the anthill, etc. Wherever it be, there is no snake that exists other than in your intellect and other than in your buddhi. Or does it exist in the buddhi? That for that is it. All that is for a moment only. Evam sakala padartha api buddhe bahir na vartante. Every object, whatever you see, the whole creation does not have any existence other than what is existing in the mind. It is a mental projection. It all these schools may seem to be closer to Vedanta. Each one of them, when you see individually, they look like, oh, is it not what we Vedantins also accept? No, we don't accept the internal object to be projected external. We don't accept the internal existence also. This fellow accepts the internal existence. That is the difference. The subtle difference is what we have to understand. The internal existence, that too momentary, which is projecting the whole world. That is what the Buddhist accept. Vijnanavadi Buddhist accept. So he says, Buddhireva sakala padarthanam akaran dhatte. The intellect is what is manifesting or holding all the different forms that you see in the universe or in the creation. Sacha buddhi, and this is the important point. Okay, buddhi, the intellect is what is manifesting everything, right? Okay, what is the nature of the buddhi? He says, Sacha buddhi kshanikya vijnana rupa. It is of the nature of momentary knowledge. Kshanika means second. It just stays for a second. Every knowledge stays for a second. That is how the knowledge is. Knowledge does not have an eternal existence like Vedanti is accepted. For Vedantis, knowledge is eternal. But we don't accept the podcast knowledge to be eternal. We accept the knowledge per se is eternal. Basically, because that is the inherent nature of the self. Chit, consciousness, knowledge. So, he says, Pratikshanam utpatti vinashashali yad vijnanam tadeva sarpatmana abhasate. That momentary existing knowledge, every second it arises and every second it merges, it gets destroyed. So there is a rise of knowledge, there is a settling of knowledge. We cannot say destruction of knowledge. We can say settling of knowledge. So there is a rise and there is a setting of knowledge. Now, this knowledge, for every second, that knowledge is what is seen as the snake. Iyam atmakhyati iti varnyate. This is what is called as atmakhyati. Atma, the intellect, is what is seen as the knowledge. Understand the words. Asat, non-existence, is what is seen as a snake knowledge. Atmakhyati, the intellect. Atma here is intellect. We have said Atma to have different meanings from Shu to universe. Everything is called as Atma. So, to absolute actually. Everything is called as Atma. You can say Atma, Atma, Atma. It's like a general pronoun. This, when you say this, it can mean the cup, the table, the tablet, the laptop, the book, everything. This is a common word. Similarly, Atma becomes a common word. You can use it for anything. So here the word Atma is used for momentary intelligence. That intelligence which exists only for a second. Okay, so that Atma is what is seen as the knowledge, snake knowledge. Knowledge of what? Snake. The Atma is seen as the knowledge externally. The non-existence is seen as the knowledge existentially. That is Asatkyati. The Atma, the intellect, is seen as the knowledge externally. That is called as Atmakhyati. You understand the word, you will remember what this Khyati is. Otherwise, Khyati will become a confusing thing. Is it Atmakhyati or is it Asatkyati? We will become confused. So simple. Asat means non-existence. Non-existent is seen as the external knowledge. That therefore it is called as Asatkyati. Atmakhyati means Atma is intelligence. That intelligence is what is seen as an external knowledge. That intelligence exists only for a second, momentary. So that is Atmakhyati. Okay. Atma kshanika vijnana rupa buddhihi tasya khyati spurana avivadanancha Atmakhyati iti. So Atma means kshanika vijnana rupa buddhi, the intellect which is of the nature of momentary. So that momentary intelligence, that which is explained, seen, perceived externally is called as Atmakhyati. Okay. Now, the third one is Anyatha Khyati. It looks very interesting. Everywhere when we talk about Khyati, we only bring in Anyatha Khyati. Normally, this is what the opponent in other Vedantic texts bring in. Anyatha Khyati. Anyatha means otherwise Khyati. Other Khyati. Anyatha, other or otherwise Khyati. knowledge, the other knowledge. It's a very interesting thing. This is what we believe normally. I'm not talking about we, the Vedantins. This is what we, the general public, believe to see when we see things. So what is that? Tatra Nayayika Vaisheshikanam Matam. The Nayayika and Vaisheshika, the logicians, this is what they think. Scientists, this is what they think. So what do they think? Valmikado Paramarthika Sarpo Asti. In the anthill, etc., there is real snake. There's real snake somewhere. Wait a minute. So if it is asat khyati, if it is non-existence, if we are going to accept the asat khyati, then we have to say there is no existence of creation here or anywhere. There is neither substratum for that creation. Therefore, there is no self. There is nothing. Everything is void. Then we cannot explain, establish whatever we want to establish. Because that is what he asked. How did this rope snake perceived? So that is the example. If we understand, we said it is illusory. And this illusory nature should be explained. How is it illusory? If we are going to accept everything to be void, we will not be able to establish Vedanta. That is a completely unheard of. Everything to be void is completely unheard of. It is uncognizable. You cannot even think about it. So, Atma Khyati, the intellect is what is projecting the external objects. This looks very interesting. I will even vote for it. But the problem is the intellect is of a second. That intellect, which exists only for a second, how does it produce a continuous existence of things? So, I cancel my vote. The third Anyatha Khyati is very intelligent because it's a logician. So, what he says, see, there is snake somewhere else in the anthill, in a hole somewhere else. That is what is perceived here. How it is perceived here, we will see. But that is what is perceived here. This snake which you see is not real. This snake which you see is not real. It exists somewhere else. This snake which you see is not real. It exists somewhere else. That is example. So, exemplify. This world which you see is not real. It exists somewhere else. The world, whether it exists here or somewhere else, it has existence. That is a problem. So, what does this logician say? There is snake somewhere. That's a real snake. Okay. Vyavahite apisa sarpas chakshusha grihyate. Even though it is in distance, it is separated by wall, etc. I saw snake somewhere. Somewhere means in India. Now, there is a distance of so many kilometers. There is distance of this wall, etc. But still, I see a rope and I see snake here. How? He says, Chakshurgata dosha balat vyavahitopi artha vyavahitopi sarpah puratas chakshu sannikrishto bhati. Chakshurgata dosha balat. It is because of a defective eye, because of the strength of defective eye, not even defective eye. Because of the strength of defective eye, even though it is separated by distance and by wall, etc., still it sees in front of us as though it is close by. Though it is somewhere seen some long time ago, but still it is seen in front of us. Paramarthika sarpasya chakshusascha madhye kudyadi rupa yavadhana sattvepi dosha sachiva chakshusha vyavahita sarpo api gruhyate. The real snake, though it may be at distance, it is existent somewhere. Still, because of the defect of eyesight, it is breaking away all the limitations, the wall, etc. It is surpassing all the limitations and it is seen in front of you. Okay. But wait. You said it is seen, it is experienced somewhere. That is what I am seeing here. I went to a Gold shop, there I saw silver articles. I saw the silver, shining silver. Now, because of which, when I saw something which is shining, I thought it is silver because my memory is triggered. I am seeing that silver here. I am seeing that snake here. Okay. Why do I see that? Because of defective eye. Okay. But wait, there is a doubt. What is the doubt? ननु दोष समवधानेन वस्तुनः सामर्थ्य हानिरेव दृश्यते न वृद्धिः. See, if there is a defect, that defect does not enhance your capability. It reduces your capability. It does not enhance anything. It just reduces things. Defect means there is a loss. You cannot say defect means there is a growth. Who understands that kind of logic? Who accepts that kind of logic? Why? I'll explain you. Yatha, like Vata Pitta Kafadi Doshihi Jataragnehe Ashita Pita Pachana Shakti Kuntita Bhavati. See, because of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the three doshas, the three defects of the body, which is what are this is called constituents. This is what makes our body. For some, Vata is high. For some, Pitta is high. For some, Kapha is high. So in different gradations, we have the Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Everyone has Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata, Pitta, Kapha is like our Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Everyone has it in different gradations. Okay, so because of the defect in this, if whatever is high in your body does not really matter, whether it's Vata or Pitta or Kapha does not really matter. The first thing, when there is an imbalance there, the first thing that attacks is your stomach. The digestion capacity is disturbed. Whatever may be our constituent does not really matter. The constituent changes movement. There is a imbalance in the Vata Pitta Kapha. A Prakriti completely changes. So it affects the stomach. That is why anywhere when you are when people are advising the sadhakas, they are very particular about keep your stomach, the bowel movement proper. What kind of advice is that? I want to meditate, and this fellow says keep your bowel movement proper. The thing is, if your stomach is upset, your mind is completely upset. So you will not be able to meditate on it. There is a sound from your stomach, and you go, what kind of meditation can you do? So he says, Yatha Vata. So these kind of defects, it affects the Pachana Shakti, the digestive organ. So the digestion gets affected. Now, Kuntita Bhavati, it affects means it becomes reduced. The digestion capacity becomes reduced. Okay. Tatha. Or I'll give you another example. Timiradi doshaihi chakshushaha shaktirapi kuntita eva bhavati. Bhavet. Because of the cataract, etc., the eyesight also becomes reduced. A defect. Cataract is a defect. Eyesight gets reduced. The Vata, Pitta, Kapha, etc. is a defect. So, because of the imbalance, the digestive capacity reduces. So, you see there is a defect, there is a reduce. You don't see there is a defect, there is an increase. So, he says, kincha, more than that. Moreover, यदि वल्मीकस्य सर्पो दोष सहित चक्षुषा गृह्यते तर्हि शुद्ध नेत्रेण व्यवहित वस्तु प्रत्यक्षं न भवति किंतु दुष्ट नेत्रेणेवेति वक्तव्यम्. So if you say the snake which I saw in the anthill, or the snake that exists in the anthill, I saw in the anthill, no, that exists in the anthill is what is seen here. See, there is the difference. You are not seeing the snake that exists, that you saw in the anthill. This school now says the snake that exists in the anthill is seen here. This is not a memory. Remember, there is a difference. This, what you see in front of you, is not a memory. It is a seeing that snake here. That is how he is accepting. A real snake somewhere that exists somewhere else seen here because of the defective eye. So he says, Yadi, if the opponent asks the question, if the snake which is existent somewhere else is seen because of the defective eyesight, then tarhi, then Shuddha Netrena Vavita Vastu Pratyaksham Navati. With a correct, proper eyesight, you will not be able to see. You should not be able to see something which is afar, something which is separated. Kintu Dushta Netrena, you can see things only because of a erroneous eyesight, defective eyesight. You cannot see rope, snake, etc. through proper eyesight. That is how you have to accept. Okay. तस्मात् दोष सहित चक्षुषः सामर्थ्यं वर्धते इत्यत्र दृष्टान्तो नास्ति इति चेत्, therefore you should have to accept there is no example to prove that a defect increases the capacity. Here the defective eyesight increases the capacity of the eye by seeing something existent somewhere here in front of you. So defect does not increase, defect reduces the capacity. Logic. Can't even see that. But we are talking to logicians. You can't do logic with logicians. He says, Nayam dosha, this is not a defect. This is not a defect. How so? He says, Drishtant Sadbhavat. I have example also. If you can prove through example that a defect reduces the capacity, I can prove through the same example defect increases the capacity. So I can see the snake's existence somewhere else here. What is the example? So Tathahi, this is the example. Pitta adhikya pretta bhasmaka roga abhibhutasya kasyachit chakshur guni chaturgunitam api annam kshudham shamayitum na alam bhavati. There is a disease called Bhasmaka Roga. Bhasmaka Roga. I don't know what it is called in English. There is a definitive disease. This is there is a man in the south of India, extreme south. He has this disease. The problem is when people they get operated because they are fat, so they cut their intestine, smaller portion, they get operated. After getting operated, they cannot eat even a spoon of food. A spoon of food makes them feel very heavy. So I don't know how they have to take in the medicines properly for nutrition and other things. Even a spoon of food becomes heavy for them. But what we are talking about is a extreme, other side extreme, which is these fellows who are affected by this Bhasmaka Roga. This Bhasmaka Roga is caused by the increase in biliousness, Pitta Adhikya, increase in biliousness. If the biliousness increases extremely, then whatever this fellow eats, it becomes a Bhasma, ash in second, because it gets digested in seconds. Even 4 times of food is nothing for him. This fellow, he has this Bhasmaka Roga and he is so fat, he cannot perform any work, he cannot do any work. So the hotel fellows, they take turns to feed him. One day he goes to one hotel, another day he goes to another hotel. He does not have to do anything. He just has to go and sit in the corner and eat whatever they give. Because there is no possibility for him to earn money and eat. Whatever he earns, that is not going to fill his stomach for one time. He has to at least eat for 3 times. At least I'm talking about it. So this Bhasmaka Roga, what is it caused by? Pitta Adhikya, increase in biliousness. What does it do? It completely digests whatever you eat. Probably the metabolism is not high because though the food is digested, they are fat also. This fellow was fat, of course. Maybe there are people who have the Basmaka Roga and they are thin. Maybe. So he says, because even if he takes 4 times the food of normal person, the food gets digested. Shudam Shamayitum Nalam, it is not capable to get rid of his hunger, even after taking 4 times food. So, Tatra, now I'm giving the example. Pitra doshena, because of the pitta dosha, defect of biliousness, yatha jatharagne pachana shaktir vardhate, the power of digestion increases. Pachana shakti, the power of digestion. Jatharagni, the fire in the belly, the intestine belly, the fire, intestine fire, the acid in the intestine. It increases tremendously. Tatha, similarly, chakshushopi doshaihi, by Veda Sarpadi Pratikshīkarana Shaktir Vardhata iti Vaktu Yuktam. Similarly, because of the defective eyesight, his eyesight also becomes so powerful, even though things are separated by wall, etc., he'll be able to see that. Logical. Increases, defect increases. I have explained. So, this defective eyesight increases his eyesight power. He can see things which are separated through walls and things, even at distance. Itam, in this way, Valmikadi Pradeshantare Sita Sarpasya Anyatha Prakarena Anyatha Prakarantrena Purovastita Rajudeshe Kshatihi Spuranam Abhodanam Cha Anyatha Khyati Kathyate. Therefore, in that the snake which exists in the anthill, etc., that snake is seen anyatha. Anyatha means in a different form, in a different place, in front of you on the rope. That is anyatha. Anyatha means otherwise. Otherwise means existing somewhere, seen somewhere else, in a different form, in a different place. Anyatha means otherwise. Otherwise means otherwise, not in the same place or same time. So that snake, Khyati, the knowledge of that snake, seen from a different place is what is called as Anyatha Khyati. So first is we have seen 3 Khyatis. First is Asat Khyati, knowledge of non-existent snake. Second is Atma Khyati, knowledge of a mind projected snake. Atma is mind, intellect. Intellect projected snake. Third is Anyatha Khyati, knowledge of a snake that exists somewhere. How do you see it? Because of the defect of eyesight. Defective eyesight. Okay. Now, Atra 142. Atra Navyanayayika Chintamanicara Matam. So there is logic. What we saw is logic school. True. There are 2 logic schools. Like in Vedanta, there are 2 logic schools. In Vedanta, there are 2 schools. No, what I mean is, there are 2 periods of Vedanta because of there are 2 periods of logicians. Why should logicians period affect Vedanta? It has definitely affected Vedanta. In fact, it has bettered Vedanta. I'll say it has bettered Vedanta. How so? There are 2 schools. One is old school of logic. The other is new school of logic. The old school fellows, what we saw is old school. New school established things through a beautiful language of logic. They used a language, they created a language for logic, and they used that language for logic to pinpoint precise things. To pinpoint precise things. You will never be able to make any error when you say whatever you want to say. If they say something, it just has to, if you know the language, then you will never understand it any other way. There is no possibility there. Like I have explained, the recorder is on the table. Does it exist on the table? Yes or no? Yes. You see the recorder. I say no. How? There is association, separable association. There is a inseparable association. Sanyoga sambandha, samvaya sambandha. It exists in separable association, not in inseparable association. Okay. Now, I am asking you again. Does it exist on the table? Now, you are smart. So, you will say, it exists in separable association. Yes, good. I will say, no, it doesn't exist in separable association. But it exists. I'll say it exists in separable association on the right side of the table, not on the left side of the table. So this way they refine the usage of language and make you will never be able to make a mistake in understanding. So those new logicians, they changed the logic school through this refined language, which in fact affected the Vedanta. Vedanta also underwent a Neo Vedanta. I name it Neo Vedanta, not these idiots who claim themselves to be Vedantins without studying any Shastra or without studying from anyone. I am talking about this Vedanta, which uses the Neo logic language. That is Neo Vedanta. So, because of this, there were many things which were made so clear. See, Bhagwan Bhashyakara, though his commentary is so simple and beautiful and perfect, whenever you say something, there is always a person who wants to interpret it in another way, wrong way. Always, because you have decided to interpret it in wrong way. You say something, interpret it in wrong way. Over. So, this fellow, he says, okay, this is wrong. Vedanta is wrong. Because this is what it is. So, this Neo Vedantins, they used this language, in fact, better than the logicians, and established Vedanta very precisely. So, the Navya Vedanta, Navya Nayakas, the neo-logicians, that is what is taken. The neo-logician school is started by a person called Gangesha Upadhyaya. Gangesha Upadhyaya, that is his name, Gangesha Upadhyaya. Okay, and he wrote a beautiful book called Chintamani. Normally, he is not referred to by the name Gangesha Upadhyaya. He is normally referred to by Manikara, the person who wrote Mani. Mani means Chintamani, the text. That is how they refer. They even refer to the text also as money. I am studying money, not money, M-O-N-E-Y. This is a very interesting text. Each chapter is each topic of logic is taken under it is analyzed in such a beautiful way. You cannot miss. You will start enjoying logic. You will become a slave of logic. Actually, that is how beautifully he has written. And once you become slave of the logic and the language of logic, you will be like, your mind will be only processing that. See, let us suppose if you learn the language that is used in that, what movie that is? Gods Must Be Crazy. If you learn that language, what happens to you? You will ask something, then this fellow, somebody is talking something. This fellow is not going to stay quiet. This fellow is going to interpret all the words the other person says in this language. You will be saying, how are you? He's going to do that. So this is the difficulty which you see with the neologicians, people who are so attached to neologic school. They'll always try to interpret the brain goes overdrive. Sometimes it fuses. I've seen people going crazy after going through this neologic garbage, gibberish. It's a beautiful language. I am not saying gibberish, but when you get attached to things, even though it is a beautiful thing, it is going to make you go crazy. So this makes you go crazy. Think this: the neologicians, what do they say? They should be smart. What do they say? So the old logic school said that snake is what is seen here. Make no mistake. That snake is what is seen here because of the defective eyesight, even breaking the barrier of walls, etc. Okay, the logicians, they say, Atra Navya Nayyayika Chintamani Matam. Navya the neologician Chintamani school. His idea is this. Dosha Sahita Chaksha Valmikagata Sarpo Yadi Drishyeta Tarhi Madhyastha Padarthantara Darshanamapi Apadyata. He is very clear. Okay, because of the defective eyesight, you say the snake which you see in the ant hill is seen here. Then you should have to pick up other things on the way and see here. The distance between this ant hill and this place is so vast. There are so many things in between. You should have to bring all those things here. Sometimes you should have to also bring in the anthill here. There are possibilities that because your defective eyesight, it can do anything. So it should bring in, and you said the defective eyesight has more power, then it should have to have more power to bring in many things here. There is a rope and your eyes are defective, and the room is fully filled with rockets, junk cars, bikes, everything, because it has carried everything, whatever is on the way, and it is projecting here. That is not how you see. So that idea that you see that snake here breaking the barriers is logical. It's not logical. It's illogical. So tasmad vyavahitam vastu na netrena grishyate. Therefore, the object which is separated by barriers, separated by things, is not seen here. Then what am I seeing here? I do see the snake. How do I see that? Kintu, I'll explain that. Dushtanetrasya rajjuhu na swaswarupena bhasate tu sarpadyakarena. Dushtanetrasya rajjuhu na swarupena because of the defective eye, the snake, the rope, is not seen in its inherent nature, the ropeness. The rope is not seen with its inherent nature, which is ropeness, but it is seen with the snake, etc., with snakeness, etc. It is seen to be endowed with snakeness, etc., not ropeness. Okay, now how do you see that? The object which you see here is a memory of the snake which you saw earlier. That is what you are projecting here. So he says, Tasmat Rajjo Anyatha Prakarena Sarpadi Akarena Kyati Spurana Vivadanam Cha Anyatha Kyati. Therefore, the rope which is seen as snake, Anyatha. Rope seen Anyatha. Anyatha means otherwise. Rope which is seen as snake because of the defective eyesight, the knowledge of that is called as Anyatha Kyati. Rope seen otherwise is the knowledge of rope seen otherwise is Anyatha Kyati. Kyati, knowledge. Anyatha, rope seen otherwise. Anyatha is otherwise. So the rope seen otherwise. This is Anyatha Kyati. So Asat Kyati, knowledge of non-existence. Atma Kyati, knowledge of mental projection. Then Anyatha Kyati, knowledge of Anyatha Kyati 1, knowledge of thing existing somewhere else. Anyatsa Khyati 2, knowledge of things otherwise, not seen as rope. Okay. Now, fourth school is Akhyati. So what does he say? Akhyati matam Purukta Matatraya Khandanam cha. He is now in 143, he is establishing the school of Akhyati, and as well as he is refuting the three schools. Refuting the previous three schools. Asatkyati, Atmakhyati, Anyatsakyati. All the three schools with the variants, they are going to be refuted here. So he says, Tatra Akshativadino I am Ashaya. This is the idea of the school of Akhyati. What do they say? Asatkyati mataritya yadi asadapi pratiyeta tarhi vandhyaputra chashashangadiyopi pratiyeran tatha pratiti abhavat asangatam eva asatkyati matam. They say asatkyati matam is completely illogical, non-acceptable. Why? If a non-existent object can manifest, a non-existent object can be perceived. The non-existent object can manifest, or if the non-existent object can be perceived, then I should be able to see the barren woman's son, the mare's horn, etc. Do I see that? No, it is impossible. Therefore, that idea which you present, that the non-existent has existence somewhere, that is impossible. That is impossible. Asatkyati is wrong. The knowledge of non-existence cannot be said to be proper, because I don't see barren woman's son. I don't see the manifestation of the mare's horn, rabbit's horn. So that is wrong. Okay. What about the second school? What was the second school? Buddhi, intellect. Atmakhyati. Atmakhyati means knowledge of things projected by my intellect, by my mind, which is momentary. Okay. Now, what does he say? So, yadi kshanika vijnanavadi mataritya pratikshanam anyatha bhavanti buddhi sarpadi akaratam prapnuyat tada kshanadurdham tasya sarpasya pratitirna syat parantu yavat brahmakalam sarpa pratitit anuvartate tasmad atmakhyati matam api anupadeyam eva. Okay. Yadi, if according to the kshanika vijnanavadi, this people who accept the momentary existence of intellect, knowledge, which is projected externally, if according to them, we accept that the object of rope is seen as snake because of the mental projection. The rope, because of the mental projection, is seen as snake, etc. But that mental projection can exist only for a moment, for a second, because the intellect has existence only for a second. It changes every second. So the next second there should be no snake. Snake should become something else. I don't care, but there should be no snake. It will be like the cartoon movies where some portion is taken and suddenly it becomes something, changing every second. We will become like that. This rope will become snake, become something. In fact, wait. Why should we limit it to the snake? We ourselves will become something and something and something and something and something, because we are also a projection of our mind, or of our intellect. So that is a highly impossible, improbable. So he says, Parantu, but this snake which you see exists till the erroneous knowledge exists. Until the substratum knowledge of the rope is not gained, it is not removed. It is still there. Therefore, tasmad atmakhyati matamapi anupadayam. Therefore, accepting the atmakhyati school also is not possible, not acceptable. Okay. Then Anyatha Khyati. Oh, I am coming to that. Anyatha Khyati, first school. He says, Anyatha Khyate Patham Prakara Chintamnikara Matena Khanditaha. I don't want to condemn the first school of Anyatha Khyati. Why? Array, the Anyatha Khyati school himself has condemned the first school. The second school condemned the first school. He said, no, it cannot be from distance. It is a something which is transformed into something. That's all, because of the effect. It is not seen from somewhere. That is what the second school said. So he has himself condemned the first school. So talk about the second school then. So he says, Chintamani kara pradarshita anyatha kyati prakaropi asangata eva. Even that which is presented by the Chintamani kara Gangeshopadhyaya, that is also not possible. It is also highly improbable. Why? Says, okay. This is a very important point. I have an object. Is my, okay, I have this pen. Is the pen cost for my knowledge or my knowledge cost for the pen? Is the pen, the knowledge dependent upon the pen or pen depends upon my knowledge? Always it is my knowledge which is dependent upon the pen, the object. Knowledge always is dependent upon the object, not otherwise. I don't see the object because I have a knowledge of something. The object is dependent, not dependent on my knowledge. I see the object pot because my knowledge is dependent upon the pot. I don't see it as a glass because I have the knowledge of glass. I want to see it. No, the object is not dependent upon my knowledge. This is the basic premise. So he says, Nyeya adhinam jnanam. Nyeya adhinam jnanam. Nyeya adhinam jnanam means Nyeya means object. Adhinam means dependent. Jnanam, knowledge. Knowledge is dependent upon the objects. This is the rule. Anywhere, knowledge is dependent upon the object. Whatever be the object, that knowledge you are going to gain. You are not going to see the knowledge you have on the object. Okay, so itihi prasiddhi. This is the famous knowledge. Everyone understands this. Everyone sees this way. So atra tu jnaya rajju. So I am explaining you things. You are logician, but still I am explaining. What is the object here? What is the object here in the rope snake? Rope is the object. Rope is the object. Jnaya rajju. The rope is the object. So if the rope is the object, I should have to see the object because knowledge is dependent upon the object, but I don't see the rope. And jnanam tu sarpa vishekam. Knowledge is of snake. Rope is the object. Knowledge is of snake. Now, iti sutaram viruddham uchyate. This is completely contradictory. Object is rope and knowledge is snake. How can they be not in sync? I see the object. I have to gain the knowledge of the object. I cannot project my knowledge in the rope, in the object. Nowhere we do it. If that is how we do it, we could have not studied anything in our life. No way. So he says, Tasmat Chinta Manikara Vimata Anyatha Khyate Adar Anarhatvad Akshatireva Sharanamiti Sankhyaha Prabhakaraschahu. Therefore, this is not logical. You say you are logical school of thought and you are talking something which is highly illogical. Simple question. Is the knowledge dependent upon the object or object dependent upon the knowledge? Always knowledge is dependent upon the object and you are trying to establish it otherwise. So this otherwise knowledge, this anyatha khyati, which is projected by, which is presented by this Chintamani-kara, the second school, the neo logic school, is also not right. Then what is right? Because all the three of them are, all the four of them are refuted. So he says, Akhyati reva sharanamiti. Therefore, you have to take refuge only in Akhyati. This is what Sankhyaha Prabhakarachati, Sankhya school of logic, so Sankhya school of philosophy, Sankhya philosophy, and Prabhakara. Prabhakara is a school in Purimimamsa. There are two schools in Purimimamsa. One is Prabhakara, and it's called as Guru Mata also, the school of Guru. Okay, and the other is Vachaspati Mishra, Mandana Mishra. The other is Mandana Mishra. There is another school of logic, Mishra school of logic. Now, now this Guru Mata actually is not the Guru, he's a disciple, he's a student actually. Kumarila Bhatta school, not the Vachaspati Mishra school. Kumarila Bhatta. Kumarila Bhatta is the Guru. And the disciple is Prabhakara. But somehow Prabhakara school is referred to as Guru. People have this this confusion. So Prabhakara is the Guru and Kumarila Bhatta is the disciple. No. Kumarila Bhatta is we call Bhatta Mata, the school of Bhatta. The school of Bhatta, Kumarila Bhatta. He is the Guru. And disciple is a Prabhakara. Okay. Now, the Prabhakara school, though he is a disciple, he has completely reorganized everything and presented it in a different viewpoint. He didn't accept his Guru. And there are followers for him also. Now, he says, this Akhyati is what is right. Both Sankhya school and Prabhakara school, both accept Akhyati. What does Akhyati mean? Akhyati matam, he is explaining Akhyati. What is Akhyati? Rajjau sarpadi brahmadashayam netram स्ववृत्ति द्वारा रज्ज्वा सह संयुज्य अयमिति रज्जोः सामान्य ज्ञानं जनयति. See, though the Anyatha Khyati, the second school of Anyatha Khyati, Chintamani-kara system is refuted, but when we are accepting the superimposition, we do accept the superimposition called Jnana Dhyasa, superimposition of knowledge. Superimposition of knowledge. We do accept. Vedantis accept this in a different place. What is Jnana Dhyasa? Superimposition of one knowledge in another place. Superimposition of one knowledge in another place is called as Jnana Dhyasa. Artha Dhyasa means superimposition of one object in another object is called as Artha Dhyasa. So we do accept it in the sense of Jnana Dhyasa. We'll come to that later. But here, what is that? The Sankyans say, Rajjau Sarpadi Brahmadashayam. During the time of erroneous knowledge of snake on the rope, Netram Swavrutti Dwara Rajwa Saha Sanyojya. The eyes are in contact with the object. How? Not the eyes. Through the thought function. The eyes, through the thought function, is in association with the object. The eyes, through the thought function, is in association with the object. Okay? Eye and object. Now, ayamiti rajjoho samanya jnanam janayati. Now, when my eyes see the object, the first knowledge, do you know what the first knowledge is? There are two knowledges which take place with respect to every object. There are two knowledges which takes place with respect to every object. So when the eye meets the object, there is the first knowledge. What is the knowledge? There are two knowledges which takes place with respect to any object. What are the two knowledges? No, no. There are two knowledges which takes place with respect to the object. Don't discuss. Tell me. No. There are two knowledges, huh? No. There is one knowledge which is general knowledge and another knowledge which is specific knowledge. Okay, now what is general knowledge and what is specific knowledge? What is general knowledge and what is specific knowledge? We saw in Drik Drishya Viveka. We saw this in Drik Drishya Viveka. We have two knowledges with respect to any object. This is nothing new for us. We saw in Drik Drishya Viveka. There are two knowledges for any object. One is a Samanya Jnana, general knowledge. The other is a Vishesha Jnana, specific knowledge. General and specific. General is a okay. This is a cup. This is a pen. This is a paper. This is a cloth. This is a recorder. So there are in every place there are two knowledges. One is a this, which is a general knowledge everywhere. The other is a cup. Now we remember. Yes. So there are two knowledges with respect to every object. One is a general knowledge. The other is a specific knowledge. General knowledge is this, etc. This, that, whatever. This is general knowledge. I am. And the specific knowledge is Gatapatadi, pot, cot, etc. So he says, I am iti rajyoho samani jnanam janiti. When the I meets the object, then I have the first knowledge, which is this. I am. Tada. At that point of time, Sarpa Smaranam cha jayate. I remember the snake. When I see this, I remember the snake. Okay. Now, Tataha I am Sarpa iti jnanam jayata. Then I mix up. I see this and I remember the snake. I mix up and I understand this is snake. Tatra grahana smaranatmaka jnanadvayam asti. Therefore, there are two knowledges here. Now, I am talking about two different knowledges, not the specific and general, but there are two knowledges. One is a knowledge which of perception. The other is a knowledge of remembrance. Knowledge from perception and knowledge from remembrance. There are two knowledges here. Smaranarupam aparam jnanam. Sarpa iti purvanam. Ayam iti cha. Ayam iti rajyo samanyamsha pratyaksha jnanam. Sarpa iti tu purvanabhuta sarpasya smaranarupam aparam jnanam. Ayam, this is the general knowledge of the rope, which is a direct perception, pratyaksha. There are two knowledges. Okay. One is general knowledge, the other is specific knowledge. There are two knowledges. One is a direct perception, the other is a remembrance. With respect to this, the rope, there is direct perception. General knowledge, there is direct perception. With respect to snake, specific knowledge, there is a remembrance. This rope, general knowledge, direct perception. Snake, specific knowledge, remembrance. Okay, so he says, iti itham ayam sarpa ityatra jnanadvayam asti. In this way, when I say this is snake, there are two parts in the knowledge. There are two limbs of knowledge. General knowledge, specific knowledge, direct perception, remembrance. This under snake. Okay. Atra ayamiti rajyoho samanyamsha jnanasya purvanabhuta sarpasmarana rupa jnanasya cha paramarthatve api bhayarupa pramatru doshena तिमिररूप प्रमाणदोषेण च मम ज्ञानद्वयम् अभूत् तत्र एकं रज्जु सामान्यांश प्रत्यक्षं सर्पस्मरणरूप ज्ञानम् अपरमिति विवेकः पुरुषस्य नोत्पद्यते. Okay, how do I confuse this? They are two different knowledges. Okay, general and specific are always connected, but not the direct perception and memory. I don't connect the direct perception and memory always. Sometimes I do that, but not always. When oh, you are that person, right? Okay, now I connect my direct perception with memory, but not always. In every object I see, I don't connect it with my memory. Now I am not just connecting it with my memory, I'm confusing it with my memory. That is the problem here. So he says, ayam iti rajjoho samanyamsha jnanasya. Ayam, this is the knowledge of snake, which knowledge of the object rope, which is a general knowledge. With that, purvanbhuta smarana rupa jnanasya cha, the previously experienced memory. Okay, now this object which is in front of me, the rope, is it real or not real? Is it real or not real? According to the school, it's real. This rope is real. And the experience I had of snake, is it real or not real? The memory which I have of a snake is through an experience. Is it real or not real? That is also real. This is real. That was also real. Okay, both real. So he says, iti paramarthatvepi, though both are real, the problem is bhayarupa pramatru doshena, there is a defect of pramata, the seer, which is a fear. I see the rope, I have fear. That is the first defect. And there is second defect of my eyesight, pramana. So there is pramatru dosha, the seer's defect, and pramana dosha, the means of seeing defect. There are two defects here. Because of these two defects, what happens is mama jnanadvayam abhut, I have two knowledges. Tatra ekam jnanam rajju samanyamsha pratyaksham. One part of knowledge is I have two knowledges now. One part of knowledge is the rope knowledge, which is general knowledge, which is gained through the pratyaksha, direct perception. And the other knowledge is the knowledge of snake, which is gained through remembrance. Now I have two knowledge, which is specific knowledge. So I have two knowledges. There is no doubt about it. But the problem is this vivekah purushasya notpadyate. This discrimination is not gained by the person. He gets confused. He does not see them to be different. This is direct perception, that is memory. He does not see it. He confuses both, mixes them, and sees the rope snake. This is snake. So etad jnanadvaya aviveka eva brahma iti sankhya prabhakarascha vadanti. This non-capability of differentiating the two different knowledges, two different types of knowledges, it is what is called as erroneous knowledge. That is how the school of Sankhya, the school of Prabhakara accept. Brahmotpatti stale cha sarvatra evam eva bodhavyam iti chahu. And wherever you have this erroneous knowledge, everywhere this is how you see. So what is akhyati? The non-knowledge, the object of this, and the object which is this general knowledge, and the snake, which is specific knowledge gained through the memory, they are confused. So I am seeing the knowledge of not that. Akhyati, not knowledge. I should have to see the rope, but not knowledge. I am seeing the snake. I should have to see whatever I am perceiving, but not knowledge. I am seeing whatever is memory. So I am confusing the general knowledge and specific knowledge, combining it and understanding it to be one same knowledge. Knowledge to be a right knowledge. a direct perception knowledge. एवं रज्ज्वादौ सर्पादि भ्रम उत्पत्ति विषये मत चतुष्टयं पूर्वोक्त प्रकारेण श्रूयते. In this way, with reference to the rope, snake, etc., erroneous knowledge, wherever, whatever erroneous knowledge you have, in all these places, these four schools are heard about. This is what is said. Tatra bhavad अभिमतम् उत्तमं मतं यत् तद् भवद् उपदेशाद् जिज्ञास इति जिज्ञासे विजिज्ञासे इति तत्त्वदृष्टि पृच्छति. Now this is a question. The whole thing was a question. He didn't say what. See, there are four schools. One is asat khyati, atma khyati, akhyati, this khyati, that khyati. So what do you think about these things? He didn't say. Okay, asat khyati, non-existence knowledge. What is that? He explains that. And atma khyati, the knowledge of the projection, mental projection. What is that? And the third is anyatha khyati, knowledge of otherwise. So what is that? And fourth is akhyati, knowledge of the confusion between the perceived and the memory. So these are four schools which we hear. Now, if you think, if you accept, I think you are accepting some different school. So what is that different school? I want to hear it from you. What is the fifth school you are going to present? I want to hear from you. There is one more school which is Satkyativada. So complicated. They exist. This also to be real, that also to be real. Well, that should be a big confusion actually. So normally no one touches that Satkyati. So these are the four schools. And we are going to introduce the fifth school. The fifth school means how does the snake seen on the rope? How is the snake projected on the rope? That is our school. What? How is the snake projected on the rope? We have heard it time and again and again and time. Every time we listen to this again and again. But now when we say, oh, you will remember what school we are from. How do we see the object, rope snake? What is rope snake? What is this world? What is this world? Huh? What is it? Nithya, erroneous knowledge. But explain it to me. I want to understand what it is. Explain it to me.
Something that's not.
Explain it to me. What is that you see here? Explain. Explain the keyword.
Inexplicable.
Simple. That is the answer. Inexplicable. Inexplicable is anirvachaniya. And knowledge, khyati. We belong to the school of anirvachaniya khyati. We already know, so we don't have to study, right? We'll understand this tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.